Hi, I'm Life Coach Landry, and the topic is how to get hired during an interview with some simple steps. Okay, so I'm going to give you kind of a quick list of things just to recall. I'm going to go through before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview, right? And I'm not going to make this overly complicated because you should never make an interview overcomplicated. Remember, these people don't know you. You don't know them. You shouldn't have any anxiety about it. They go to sleep. They cry. They bleed just like you do. They're normal people. They just don't know you and you don't know them. And that's all you're doing. You're almost treating it like a first date. Okay. So don't get stressed out. Don't have anxiety. These things are going to help you out. I'm going to also do another segment on great questions asked during an interview. Okay. Number one thing I want you to do, and this is going to be before the interview, I want you to research the company, okay? Meaning go to their website and just look at who they are, what they do, how long they've been around, and that's it. Just know the basic information. That's all you really need to know. You don't need to know specifically what they did in 1903 because they're just going to make sure you actually paid a little bit of attention, and they're going to move on to their own questions. They're not going to sit there and want to talk about somewhere they work all day, okay? Number two, I want you to find out who you're interviewing with. Ask your agent or the HR or the hiring recruiter at the company. Say, hey, can I get an agenda on who I'm meeting with? And if it's just one person, hey, can I get the name of the person I'm meeting with? Number one, it'll help you rehearse it. So when you walk in, you can kind of, shake their hand and already have their name kind of rehearsed. And number two, it'll help you maybe research them on LinkedIn and just have a little personal background on this guy's been doing this for this long, this HR lady's been doing this for this long, and so on. Okay. Number three, I want you to prepare creative, insightful questions and craft your personal story. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a separate segment on this with some killer questions to know your interview, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, so we're going to move to during the interview. So during the interview, I want you to dress for the job, okay? A lot of people say, should I wear a suit or should I go casual, right? Well, the answer depends because it's one of those things where if you're not dressed for the job you want, then you're not doing yourself any favors, right? So 70% of hiring managers say they've eliminated a candidate after an interview because they were too fashionable or trendy, right? So that's what I tell you. People are overdressing, okay? Don't be afraid to ask whoever you're going to interview with or whoever's helping you set this up. Ask them, hey, what's the company culture or dress style there? Just give you a heads up, okay? And don't be afraid to ask people questions. Remember, you're not a car salesman. You're not at their beck and call. This is a two-way conversation. Okay, an interview is for you to go there to learn about them learn about you, and see if it's a fit. This isn't for you to sell yourself. This is for you just to represent yourself in a way that's attractive, but you need to be you. Okay, so I want you to bring 2 extra copies of your resume as well, and I want you to have a perfect handshake. What's a perfect handshake? A perfect handshake is when you look them in the eye and you shake their hand and you have firmness to it. You're not squeezing and you're not just laying your hand in their hand. The handshake showing you're a confident person. You're there because you want to be there and you think you're the right person for the job, right? So it's one of those things where, just if you need to practice with a friend, hey, shake my hand. Am I squeezing you too hard or do I feel flimsy? And just kind of craft it. Take about 5 minutes to figure out. It's not hard, okay? Number 7, turn off your phone and arrive 10 minutes early. Leave your phone in your car if you're that worried about maybe you'll forget. And always arrive early, right? Because if they can get you in sooner, that just kind of shows that, you're ready to go, Then next, I want you to use correct posture, okay? 33% of managers say they've eliminated a candidate because of sloppy posture, okay? I want you to think about your posture. If you were sitting in a lobby and standing and then walking around an office, be mindful of how your posture looks to people. Are you slouching? Are you arching your back? Take one of those launch stance while standing up and keep your back arched while sitting down. It makes you look like your chest is leaning forward a little bit and your back is arching with you're almost in a little bit of a curve, but an L, right? That makes you look like you're interested in the conversation. You're leaning a little bit into the conversation because you're wanting to interact. It makes you look approachable. Okay. Number 9, use the triple nod when listening to people. When someone says something, triple nod. Okay. 38% of hiring managers say they've eliminated candidates after an interview because of lack of smiling and engagement during the conversation. If you're not nodding and you're not smiling, it looks like you're not engaging, which makes them think, why am I even interviewing you? You don't even look like you really care. Okay, so if you're not a smiley person, if you're not ultra social, that's okay. Triple nod and have a slight smile. Smiles make you look friendly and approachable. Nobody wants to hire someone not approachable in a company. Okay, I want you to use hand gestures while speaking. You notice when I do my videos, I'm always like this, or when I talk about things, I'm doing that. And like, within reason, I don't want you throwing your fist across the table or anything, but utilizing a healthy amount of hand gestures illustrates your points, will significantly reinforce your communication skills and show them that you have a lot of confidence in what you're saying. Okay? So I want you to use your hands. And I want you to maintain eye contact. Sometimes I'm reading some of my material that I'm talking to you guys about, so you'll see me look away from the camera. But during an interview, you're talking to them. You're not looking at material, right? So you're talking to them, and you want to be looking at them in the eye. You want to be triple nod, and you want to say, and then you want to be talking with your hands a little bit. And I want you to practice this a little bit, okay? The next thing I want you to do is get the email address, if you can, of people you speak with, or ask, hey, do you have a card? Could I mind having it? If you're unsure about a company-wide email naming convention, then you'll be sure to ask each person in the interview for the best email, or if they have a card. That way, when it's time to follow up, you have their default kind of domain and everything, so you know where the email to go to, okay? Next, I want you to ask when to expect a decision for them to follow up. So this wouldn't be with maybe if you're doing a 5-part interview, it's not going to be with one of the people in the room. It may be the person who brought you to the interview or the person who takes you from the interview that you need to work on that with, or it could be your agency. Okay. So if you're interviewing with multiple people, be sure to ask the hiring manager, the most important person, if it's the last, if that's the last segment of the interview, is that person. Okay. And if you want the job, say so. Don't allow there to be any ambiguity about whether you actually want the job. If by the end of it, you're feeling pretty freaking excited about it, say, man, you know what? This is a really good fit for me. I'm really glad this interview happened. I've been to a couple of companies and whatnot, and culturally, this company is a really good fit for me. And skill-wise, like I'm on the dot with what you guys are looking for. You want to talk like that. You want to let them know. Okay. So after the interview, I want you to send a follow-up thank you email. Okay, before you go to bed on the date you had your interviews, be sure to send a brief personalized thank you. Or if you even want to write one, that's important too. Some people still do that, and it actually sends a signal. You're still very original and you're very sincere when you handwrite something to a company. Okay, bonus points for handwriting one. Okay, it's a lost courtesy that still goes a long way. Remember, our generation is separated by another generation. Some of these older generations, in their late 50s and early 60s, late 60s, handwritten still means something to them. Okay, number 16, to the whole thing, out of all the points I've given you, I want you to follow up if you don't hear back too soon, but not before. If you send your thank you email right after your interview, I don't want you to send another one until it's been a week since that interview. 5 business days and 2 days of the weekend, and then you should send one back up. Okay. This could be the year you land your dream job if you stick with it. Okay. I'm going to recap. Okay. So before the interview, I want you to research the company. Okay. Number 2, I want you to find out who you're interviewing with, and I want you to do a little research on them. Okay. Number 3, I want you to prepare creative, insightful questions to kind of craft, your personal story as well when they ask about you. And I'm going to do a separate segment, a part 2, so to speak, on, great questions to have prepared that will just knock them out. Okay. Next, during the interview, I want you to dress for the job. Remember, ask what kind of dress culture they have. Okay. And then I want you to bring 2 extra copies of your resume, because you don't know how many people may join in the room or maybe someone additional comes in the room that wasn't originally on the list. Okay. And I want you to perfect your handshake. Okay. Perfect your handshake. Work that out with a friend, whatever. Then I want you to turn your phone off, and I want you to arrive 10 minutes early. Okay. I also want you to use correct posture. Okay. When I do my YouTube videos, I always sit in kind of a good posture so you can see me clearly. Think about, and this is on a screen and a webcam, think about when somebody is sitting there looking across the table from you, you want to face them, okay? And I want you to use the triple nod when listening, and I want you to use your hands when you're talking about something when you're really trying to drive a point home, okay? I want you to maintain eye contact. That should be obvious, okay? If you're an adult, eye contact at this point in your life should be pretty important when you're talking to somebody about something important. Okay. I want you to get the email address / their business card, at least from one person from each of the interviews. If you have a 3-stage, 4-stage interview, if it's just one person, make sure you get their card, or if on the way out, you can ask for their general HR email or whatever. Okay. I want you also to, whoever the hiring manager is, I want you to ask when to expect a decision or a follow-up and with whom. Okay. Number 14, I want you to say you want the job. I want you to let them know. And this is obviously if you're filling the job. If you're not, you're not. But if you are, let them know. It'll make a good connection. Okay. After the interview, send a follow-up email, within that day, preferably before, 5 p.m. If it's a 5 p.m., or 4 or 3 p.m. interview, you don't get it out till 5, send one before 7 p.m. Okay. But a handwritten one is much better. Okay. And then after a week or so has passed, 5 business days, and then the 2 days of the weekend, feel free to send another follow-up if you've heard nothing. Okay. So I hope this information kind of helps you. What I really want to drive home here is interviews are a two-way street. You're not there just to impress them. They need to impress you. If you're a quality candidate, they should want you as well amongst other people they're interviewing. You want to be somebody they desire. Right. But you don't want to be a car salesman, because we don't want to be fake in an interview. We want to be real. We just want to be professionally ourselves, which means come with a deal of respect and some good solid demeanor from yourself. OK, remember, relax. This isn't a big deal. It's just like a first date. They don't know you. You don't know them. You're really just learning about each other. Don't worry about any judgment for them. And trust me, as a company, if you're a qualified candidate, they're thinking about judgment from you, too. So it's a two-way street. And you want it to be that way. This is a conversation, not just a time for them to ask you questions and then you walk out, okay? So get a good night's sleep before interview. Arrive early. Keep your phone in your car. Use your hands. Good handshake. You got this. It isn't that hard. Yeah, I mean, you can do this, okay? If you want to book a personal session with me to work on your interview skills, click in the link below of how to contact me. And if you found this video of value, you can show your appreciation by clicking on the donation link below. And I will talk to you soon.